Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, because I realized I took a huge pause on YouTube, I really want to do a get to know me better type video, and I thought what's better to do that video than ask you guys what you're curious about on Instagram. So I'm gonna be answering all of your questions, the good, the bad, the ugly, and I just want it to be super casual vibes. I feel like on stories I've been sharing a little bit less, but I do want my YouTube to be where I can open up and talk and share and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Okay, question number one is, do you have a content calendar of when you post certain topics? For example, is January to March your DIY months? 100% yes. So January all the way through, I would say, summer, I try to really focus on DIY. I always try to go into January having a big project that I'm excited about, because January is depressing and sad and cold. The only hard thing about that is that DIYing outside is really hard in January because it's so cold and like you never know the weather. So my plans always do shift around, but I try to focus on home projects the first half of the year, and then starting in, I know it's unhinged, but starting in like August, I start to shift into fall mode. That's when I start to get brand deals around October, live dates, so I have to shoot everything like a month or two in advance. So I go all out for fall, and then I do Christmas also, as you guys know. If you could meet any singer from the past, who would it be and why? Well, I would really like to meet Paul McCartney. I'm a huge Beatles fan. I don't really talk about it that much because, let's be honest, who isn't a huge Beatles fan? They are the best. But I do really love Paul McCartney. He has the same birthday as my dad. I don't think he's from the past, considering he is still very much alive and well. But that's definitely who I would pick. I would love to just hear the story of like his life and his career and life lessons he's learned along the way, and just like chat with him. How do you disconnect from social media and connect to your real life on a day-to-day? Well, this is a very hard thing to do, I'm not gonna lie. I don't have great boundaries with it. I'm always trying to be better, but it's really hard. I will say I never shoot content on the weekends unless it's like an ad in the city or like something that includes the kids. I try to just not film anything on the weekends, so I do take weekends off. As far as not like scrolling or being so involved on my phone all the time, I very much am. I do try, like when I'm working out, obviously that's a break. I've been like reading at night, so I'm not on my phone at night as much, but still am. I think there's this feeling when you work in social media that like if you're not on your phone for a day, that a trend is gonna happen and you're like not gonna be able to plan for it and you're gonna fall behind. I think that it's 50% real and 50% imagined, but there is some sort of degree of like you have to keep up with trends. So you do always have to kind of be keeping your eyes and ears open, which is hard. But when I'm out in the world with the kids, like, you know, going to Target or taking them to taekwondo or like doing things with the kids, I try my very best to not pay attention to it, but it is around the clock. I do get emails after hours that I feel compelled to read. So, you know, small business owner things. Are we a board game family? And if so, what are your favorites? We very much are. We love to play Monopoly. We had a brief moment where we were really into Catan, but then we left it upstate, so we haven't been doing that as much. Chutes and Ladders, Candyland. We had like a spinning top game that we were playing a lot over Christmas break. We really like board games. Oh, Zingo, that's like one of our favorites too. Are you done with Depop? I get this question all the time. Hold on, I need a sip of coffee. I don't ever like to announce that I am done with anything because that's a very bold and definitive statement, but the evolution of my Depop was that I had a lot of extra clothes and my cousin Sammy started it with me. We were like, we should just sell these. And then it took off. Then I had a few employees that ran it for me, so it was actually never myself doing the listing or sending things out. I was always focused on like emails with brands, the creative, filming content for Reels and for YouTube and whatever. I always had like my employee running my Depop, and now I don't have an employee, it's just me. So I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to do Depop. I feel like, okay, let me reframe it. I could do Depop. I could find time to do anything because I am a very productive human being. But I think that as far as time spend goes, Depop is not the best choice for where I should be spending my time. I really want to spend more time developing my YouTube channel this year. I like to spend time on filming videos that are going to be like on Reels or TikTok, and if I take like 5 hours from a day to do Depop, I feel like it's not a good time spend. So the other piece to that is that I really shop a lot less than I used to. I am still very much a consumer, but I have made like big changes in my shopping habits. I signed up for Nuuly, which I love. They always have really they're not sponsoring me or anything, but they always have like really on-trend pieces. Everything is pretty much new from Anthro, which is amazing. It comes like new with tags. So I do that, so I get 6 pieces a month from Nuuly. I also out loud said to you guys like a year or two ago that I am gonna stop buying kitschy pieces, like, you know, a weenie dog on a sweater or something that is specifically for holiday. And for the most part, I have stayed true to that. Like right now, I'm wearing a very basic Everlane brown shirt that I've reworn a ton of times. So for the time being, I'm not really on Depop, but I might someday go back to Depop. Will you be making another book? I get asked this question a lot too. And my answer is probably not. Again, I'm never gonna say never because I love my book and I'm obsessed with it and I'm so proud of it, and I feel like it was a really transformative journey to be able to write a book. And also, like, I'm a freaking published author, and I will be a published author until the day I die. And I think that that's really cool. It also led me to my friend Nick, who is now one of my very good friends. So I'm very thankful for that. But I do think that writing a book is a really overwhelming process that takes over like every aspect of your life, especially the kind of book that I wrote, which really involved photo shoots, a lot of planning. It didn't take that much time to do the writing because it was a lot of like small chapter openers or blurbs, but it did take like a month or two of sitting at night every night, putting my headphones in, locking in, and writing away. And then there's like the whole few months where you're designing the actual book and putting the book together. And then there's like the few months when it comes out, when you have to constantly be plugging the book. And to be honest, I'm just not that into self-promotion, which I feel like is crazy coming from someone who creates content, but I am sort of shy. I was really shy growing up. I don't really enjoy public speaking. I do try to do it because I like to push myself outside of my comfort zone, but the book involved a lot of public speaking and just being out in the world in a way that I'm not used to and that I'm not properly trained for. So I don't know if I will ever do it again. But I'm really thankful that I was able to do it one time, and I really loved the process and the journey, and I'm proud of it. Okay. Someone asked, why get checked for arthritis? Do you have joint pain? I'm new here. So that's a whole story, but I'll tell it because this is where I can, right? So I have been anemic for as long as I can remember. So, okay, that was a lie. Let me start over. I was sitting at my desk when I worked at a marketing agency about 14 years ago, and I could not stay awake. It was like something was wrong. I could just tell something was wrong. So they were like, go home, go to the doctor. They did blood work, and they were like, you're very anemic. So that was when I found out I was anemic, and then throughout my pregnancies I was very anemic. I had to take like a special prenatal vitamin. And then I got to the point recently where I have been taking iron every single day, but I still feel exhausted. So I'm like, okay, maybe there's something else going on. So I went to the doctor, to my primary care doctor, and I told him the situation. I told him all my symptoms, and he was like, I'm just gonna run a bunch of tests on you and see what is going on. So it came back that my RH, I think it's called, my RH was positive, which means there's inflammation. Like, it could mean that you have rheumatoid arthritis, but it could also just mean that something is inflamed in your body, and it could be like a whole other slew of autoimmune disorders. So I went to a rheumatologist who did more blood work on me, and he did not find anything, which I guess is good news, but also annoying news. So he basically said that it could mean two things. It could mean nothing, and I just have like a positive RH, and it will always be positive. Once it comes back positive, it doesn't go negative, is what he said. Or it can mean that I am about to develop symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. Like, usually if you get rheumatoid arthritis, that's the first sign, is that you get that positive in your blood work. So I'm basically living and hoping that I do not get it. I was just telling Matt last night that my fingers felt like very swollen and cold and almost like tingly and numb. And granted, it's winter, but it was while I was working out, so it was really weird. They feel normal again now, like today, but I am nervous. I'm not gonna lie, as somebody who uses their fingers all the time to edit, to paint, to draw, for work, I'm nervous. I'm also really active. I love to run, I love to walk, and I know that if I do develop rheumatoid arthritis, it will probably affect all of that, and I will have to take a pill every day for the rest of my life. So I am just like praying and hoping that I don't develop it, and that positive meant nothing. But we'll wait and see, and if I do, I will let you all know. Okay, the last question that I'm gonna answer is, what do you tell yourself when someone makes rude comments on your posts? Rude comments don't bother me that much anymore, to be honest. I feel like I've read everything under the sun that could be said about me, so I'm used to it. But what I tell myself is that people who are happy in their own bubble, in their own life, are not going out there and saying rude things to other people. They're trying to spread joy and happiness. That's not to say, like, obviously everyone has opinions on things. We're all allowed to have our opinions, but if we're putting our opinions in a place that is like just filled with negativity and toxicity, and we're going to that place like every single day, that place could be like the comment section or Reddit or your friends who also are negative. Like, then you are just living in that energy, and I try to not do that. Like, I don't really like to talk about people. I like to talk about ideas and things and art and travel and books and movies. So all of that to say that if someone leaves me a negative comment or a DM or something, I just think about how lucky I am to be here doing what I do, and that I truly love my life and I'm happy. So that comment does not mean anything to me, and that's it. And then I just let it roll off my back. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm gonna answer. I will definitely do more of these in the future. Thank you if you stuck through the whole thing, and I will be back next week with another massive DIY, so stay tuned and make sure to subscribe. Okay, bye.